The man voluntarily agreed to spend 2 weeks living inside a prison after seeing a newspaper ad recruiting participants for a psychological experiment. The ad promised 4,000 marks for taking part. At first he thought it would be just a game. What he didn't expect was a nightmare, a reenactment of one of the most famous and controversial psychological studies of the 20th century, the Stanford Prison Experiment. Before the experiment began, the professor randomly divided the participants into 2 groups, prisoners and guards. The man was assigned to the prisoner group. At first everyone was joking and laughing. The atmosphere was relaxed. The guards and prisoners messed around, not taking anything seriously. Everyone was simply enjoying the novelty of the experience. But things changed quickly. One of the guards, following the prison rulebook, forced a prisoner who was allergic to milk to drink it anyway, because the rules stated that no food was to be wasted. As the prisoner struggled with the situation, the main character stepped in and drank the milk for him. That small act of defiance made the guard feel his authority had been challenged. That night, he punished the main character and others by making them do push-ups. The prisoner's obedience fed the guard's growing desire for control. From then on, the guards began to fully embrace their roles, realizing the power the rules gave them. As long as they didn't use outright violence, they could make the prisoners do anything. When one guard messed up the main character's bed and ordered him to make it again, the man refused. Instead, he locked the guard inside the cell and called on his fellow inmates to start a riot. Enraged, the guard shut off the power, sprayed fire extinguishers, forced the prisoners to strip, and chained the main character outside the cell. The professor, eager to collect more data, chose not to intervene. The guards realized that even using violence wouldn't lead to consequences, which pushed them further. They took the main character to a surveillance blind spot, beat him, shaved his head, and humiliated him repeatedly. At this point, he felt his dignity was completely stripped away. The guards became even more aggressive and harsh. One prisoner eventually broke down and begged the professor to let him leave the experiment, but the professor refused, claiming his mental breakdown was exactly the kind of data they needed. The prisoners, under constant pressure and fear, began to suffer from anxiety and panic. The violent dynamic between guards and inmates had pushed the experiment far beyond its original purpose. Eventually, the situation spiraled out of control when the professor wasn't present. After a brutal act of revenge by the guards, the main character led the prisoners in a rebellion. The conflict escalated, and the group fought while trying to find a way to escape the lab. The main character was stopped by a guard who tried to stab him with a knife. As the man caught the blade with his hand, the guard stared at the blood-covered hand and finally snapped out of his guard persona. Shocked by what he had done, the experiment ended in tragedy, with 2 participants dead and 3 seriously injured.